Morning, everybody. I found out a little trick to save myself time on repeating analyses over again on the same data. What I'm doing in this particular project here is I have a few examples of videos of TEM images moving over time. See if we can, we can't render TIFFs in the browser. All right, you'll have to take my word for it of what these things look like. But the short version is I have a lot of these images and I want to run the same analysis on each of these different videos. So the way that I've come to do that now is creating a set of notebooks that I can run easily using a tool called Papermill. As you see in this example bash script here, what I do is I go through each of my notebooks, which I name in a particular pattern. I have a number and then the some description of what the notebook name is. This part of the bash script here matches it. I then loop over all of those notebooks. I know that it's going to be in order in this particular example because that's the way that ls works in bash scripts. I then iterate over for each notebook, each of the different run directories I have, and I invoke Papermill. So you can see in Papermill here, I change a parameter p to run for a certain run directory, and I invoke it on a certain notebook. And this here pipes the output to devnull, which is a black hole on the Linux file system. Anything that gets written to it gets deleted. And what happens when you run this thing, let's show you by first deleting my old outputs from it and recreating them all over again. You can see here I've started running the notebook track voids, and I'm running it for many different of those video trajectories. So it's going to go over time, it's going to loop through it. You can see here it takes about 3 seconds for this particular notebook. We've now moved on to what's probably my last video. Oh, nope, it's going to take a little bit. Give me 1 second, I'll show you. Yeah, here we are. Now we're running the next video or notebook in the in the series of analyses. Now, how I create these notebook files is I go through and I use that parameter run directory, which again you can see in this Papermill command here is what I pass in. I change this parameter and I have that in my notebook, and I take that cell which contains where I set run directory and I tag it by adding a tag called parameters. You can add tags here. So now I've tagged this cell with the word tags. I can remove that tag and I'll put parameters back on. So this tells Papermill, this tagging process, where the cells it needs to change are. So each time I run this notebook, it runs it with a different value of run directory, and that changes the whole behavior of the rest of the notebook. For example, let's see. My run directory here controls which area I read from. I get the name of the run directory. I use that to get the name of the video. I use the name of the video to look up where the information I'm going to parse is. Here, for example, it's the information about the defects in these images, and that gets read in a later cell, and I'll run the analysis for that cell. And here I'm writing out to a specific directory. So you can see here I take my output directory and I write to tracks.json. So if I go to any of these things, there's tracks.json, and here's where I set the void directory, or the output directory. I take the name of the run, which is defined by the name of the input, and I use that to control where the output files go. So now I've created this nice little orderly directory where I have all of my analyses for each of the videos done exactly the same way, and I did that using my standard notebook process. I can create my algorithm in the notebook, I can explain what it does, and then just run that as a script for all of my videos. And you can see it's finished here. It takes a couple minutes for this particular example, and now I've got all of my analyses done the same way, and I can run the whole thing again if I make any changes on every single of the image stack within a minute or two. So really an overall lot of fun tool to work with, saves me a lot of time.